Hello friends, followers and channel members. So here we are at Copenhagen again after we arrived here yesterday, and we've got a great flight for you today. We are off to Dubrovnik. Anyone that isn't familiar with Dubrovnik, think Madeira, Funchal. We've still got a little circle to land procedure, RNP approach, and just to add into that, the weather is apparently rather gusty at the moment down in Dubrovnik, so hopefully we'll get you there nice and safely. With a bit of luck, those winds might even die down by the time we get there. We can hope. But yeah, we've got a few channel members flying along with us today as well. Chummy, good afternoon, great to see you, and hello to everybody else in the chat. And is Nick flying along? I think I can see his British Airways aircraft next to me, and we know just how much he loves RNP approaches. There is also a visual circle to land, so if he wishes and the weather's good enough, we can of course just go there. Jimmy, is the description still Warsaw to Copenhagen? Do you know what? I'm having trouble with Streamlabs sorting that out. Let me just go in and edit that. Hang on one second. Oh no, it does say Copenhagen to Dubrovnik. At least it does. Does on the one I'm looking at. Or is it just the description that's wrong? Sorry, the title's right, the description's wrong. Hang on one second, let's get that sorted. So we're off from Copenhagen to Dubrovnik. Let's get that sorted. There we are. So that's saved. Yeah, so the title's right, description was wrong. Wonderful. So, looking forward to this. Of course, very sadly, years and years ago, the airport at Dubrovnik did suffer a fatal accident when I think it was a military aircraft actually got lost on approach in the dark and in bad weather. So, hopefully the sun will still be shining when we make our approach into Dubrovnik. But let's start to get set up. Isle of Plains, British Airways. Yeah, so the British Airways one next to me, I believe that's Nick that's flying. OKTM, good afternoon to you as well. We're of course in the beautiful orange Easyjetsimpilot livery, as you can see, with HD on the side and not currently covered in ice. So let's start to go ahead and get set up. With a bit of luck, the YouTube service will hold out again as well today. Sadly, they kicked us off yesterday until we got reconnected. Wasn't one of my problems. Doctor on board, hello everyone, hope everyone is safe. Don't worry, the doctor's on board, thank goodness. We'll probably need some heart restarts on our landing in Dubrovnik this afternoon. Alright, let's get on board. So, just before we go any further, for those of you that want a copy of the operational flight plan today, let's get that into the chat for you. And the current METAR here in Copenhagen is also coming up now in the chat. Here we go. So as you can see, winds, we've got a bit of a headwind on takeoff, planning a 22 right departure. Air traffic control is online as well, so we'll contact them in a moment. Overcast at 5,600 feet, 10 degrees, QNH 1019. So that's fine. So cockpit prep, we've got our ATIS window. We're departing from runway 22 right because air traffic control is online. Let's go ahead and start setting the cockpit prep up, then we'll start letting passengers on board as well. So battery masters coming on. Let's turn on the fly pad as well, shall we? Wait for this to come online, then we'll call the ground power unit and get external power connected up. There he comes. So external ground power is now available. There we go. Get the nav signs on and emergencies, no smoking. We can run the fire test. Engine 1, engine 2, and of course the APU. Okay, TM, are you flying along with us on VATSIM, or are you just going to fly along at your own leisure, which is absolutely fine. All's looking good. We'll not fire the APU up just yet. I want to get the fuel loaded in before we do. Normally, of course, we'd leave the APU off until we're a lot closer. In fact, we shouldn't have done the fire test until we heard those 3 clicks. So, naughty me. Did the fire test a bit too soon. Never mind. Let's see, is my company name saved? No, it's not, so I need to pop that in. Easyjet Sim Pilot. There we go. And I can now go back to the dashboard, pull the information from SimBrief. There we go. So let's just have a quick look at the weather that we're expecting. Look at that. So currently gusting 2.7 in Dubrovnik. So let's hope that dies down. Buster, if the flight was later in the day and I was more confident on VATSIM, you join me. Absolutely. There's no rush to join on VATSIM before you're ready. And this is actually quite a difficult approach as well. So want to be fully happy with what's going on there. Right, so here is the operational flight plan. Let's come down to the McDo and just get our fuel loaded in, then we'll continue the flows. Once we can start getting the fuel loaded in real time, once the aircraft's been updated, then it'll be a little bit more realistic. But for now, let's just get that sorted. So GPS primary lost, clear that scratch pad, AOC, init press, pull the information. And 2 hours 11 minutes the flight time, Copenhagen to Dubrovnik. Let's pull that in, and let's check our weights and balances for today. So block fuel around 6.7 tons. Let's check. 6742 is our planned block fuel down here. That's good and correct. So check that, 6742, and we'll get that all loaded in. I've just realised, can you see my cursor? Oh yes, you can. That's fine. I want to make sure you can see what I'm clicking away at. Okay, on to the next page, and let's put the passenger payload in. So 17264. Let's check 17264. That matches up. Zero fuel weight of 58.2 or 58.3 rounded up. That's correct as well. 166. Zero fuel weight center of gravity we've currently got is 26.8. So let's go ahead and change that. 26.8. There we go. And it's just updated where we're loading the baggage. Alright, let's get those popped in, and let's just turn up those ECAMs. Parking brakes are hot. Oh, must have been a turnaround flight. Well, in that case, let's get the brake fan on, shall we? That happens occasionally. Don't see it too often. Prefer chocks if possible. Sadly, the chocks are not yet simulated in the sim, so unfortunately we're going to have to leave those parking brakes on. But they are very hot. I want them below 300 degrees if possible. Otherwise, as you can see, we've got the alert telling us to delay takeoff for cooling. Yep, good afternoon. Great to see you. Just hopping by for a minute. We're not scheduled to land until about 4:45 this evening UK time, so plenty of time to catch up with us. Right, gross weight is now 64.9 tons. What's our takeoff weight? 64.8, so about 100 kilogram to be burnt during the taxi. Fair enough. Alright, so that's now the fuel loaded in, and with that, let's continue the flows. There's Nick's British Airways aircraft, and we've got a fellow Easyjet to the side of us as well. Let's now pop those seatbelt signs on. We'll start getting passengers on board as well. So fuel pumps now coming on, and we can start the APU master. Give that 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and off we go. Chewie, you don't have runway 30 in Microsoft Flight Sim, although you have it on SimBrief. Runway 30. Do you mean for arrival? It should be runway 29, I think. Right, so everything there is all happy. Once the APU is running, we'll get the APU bleed on, get some fresh air into the cabin, COVID regulations and all of that. Alright, passengers, time to start getting them on board.
Cabin crew, we're happy to get going now, so as soon as you're ready, come to the door and start letting passengers on board.
So now let's have a look. What was our QNH? QNH is 1019. Get the standby set up. Brake fans on. Anti-skid is also on. Let's come down to the pedestal, and we're going to contact air traffic control in a few moments. Air traffic control frequency 119.8. Oh, VHF1 is spinning around. I can't fix that. Oh, there we go. Don't know what has introduced that bug into the simulator. 119.8. So Chuma, your sim brief is showing runway 30 but chart show 29. That might be an ARAC thing, although what does my sim brief profile show? Oh no, my sim brief profile shows runway 29, so if you have got an outdated one, that might be why. Saturated, what software website do I use for getting real operations departure and arrival? Do you want to, if you can just elaborate on that for me? I'm not quite sure what you mean there. So, audio panel is now set. As I say, we'll contact air traffic control in a minute. In fact, if I just flip over to them, we'll see how air traffic control is operating. See if we get any other aircraft flying a similar sort of route and departure out of here, so we know what to expect. IRS alignment in fact, it's not telling us the IRS alignment. It'll be aligning, but we've got the brakes hot warning, so if we could just clear that message. There we go, 3 minutes.
Continue approach, your number 1, surface wind 230 degrees, 12 knots.
Continue approach, Candy 74 Echo.
So let's set this 1019. Get those lights up. Flight directors 1 and 2 on. And I think the initial stop climb we're planned is 7,000 feet, so we can pop that.
Cross runway 30, hold short of Zulu.
Taxi Bravo, cross 30, hold short Zulu. 64.
Scanner 74 Echo, 2 to left, clear to land.
2 to land, 2 to left, Scandinavian 74 Echo.
First officer's display is being turned off. HD is not here, so it doesn't need them.
Alpha 12, with 8 Charlie departure requesting clearance to Dubrovnik.
Hello, Easyjet 54 Copenhagen and approach to Dubrovnik. EKCH-LDDU departure, stroke 4566.
So he's just cleared in the EKCH-LDDU departure, which is what I expected. That's good.
Cleared to Dubrovnik, 8 Charlie departure, Easyjet 54.
Easyjet 54, believe it or not, the readback is correct. QNH 1019.
Did he just say, believe it or not, the readback was correct? Alright, so let's come and set this up. Let's come to the init A page and let's uplink our flight route and pop that all in. So the alternate for today is... what's our alternate airport? I have no idea where that is. Lima Yankee Bravo X-ray. Lima Yankee Bravo X-ray. Our call sign for air traffic control is Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Cost index of 8, flight level 370 and minus 52 in the cruise. 370, it's minus 62 in the cruise, so let's alter that. And the tropopause height is 36650. What have we got on here? 38156.
Copenhagen approach, target 1 Alpha, I think clearance to Oslo, Gardermoen, destination Alpha.
Target 1 hello again.
Okay,
Alpha is
and
correct to Oslo
I believe this is the final day that our AirX cycle is actually in date.
04,
So that's alright, for today at least.
Get to Oslo Gardermoen via the...
Onto the flight plan then. Departing runway 22 right. And then it is the EKCH-8 Charlie departure. Insert. Clear the GPS primary. And then in Dubrovnik it'll be the RNAV, as it's called on here, 29. And that is via the Nero 1 Yankee arrival.
Very good afternoon, Lufthansa 864, call it back.
And Lugu is the initial approach fix.
From left to right, then consider via Bravo.
Insert.
Romeo, cross runway 30.
Just going to turn air traffic control off. I got the information I needed from them, so I'm expecting the EKCH-8 Charlie departure. That's fine. Right, so let's do a gross check. 933 miles, and on the operational flight plan we have 940 miles, so that's pretty spot on. Happy with that. Doctor on board, the Nightbot is giving wrong information. That pesky Nightbot. What's the Nightbot telling us we're doing? Is it telling us we're flying the CRJ or something daft like that? Let's go in and amend that, shall we? Let's change the route. For example, we're certainly not flying to Lyon this evening, so we're flying from Copenhagen to Dubrovnik. And of course we are back in my home aircraft of the A320. So Easyjet flight to Dubrovnik. Passengers are still boarding, so hopefully that Nightbot shall behave itself now. Okay, so flight plan is now looking good. So the RadNav page, let's come down and have a look here. So with our actual departure, let's just bring up Navigraph for you. So here's our departure routing, and oh no, it's not. That's our arrival routing. There's our departure routing. No turns above 1,500 feet or a distance of 2 miles, which is basically it's 2 miles from Kastrup VOR. So I want to put the Kastrup VOR into the RadNav page, so we know we're not making any turns before then. So Kilo Alpha Sierra, let's key that in. Kilo Alpha Sierra. And there we go. Already 2 miles away. There we go. So that's keyed in. That's all I really need for the departure in the RadNav page. So on to the init B, and we'll have a look at our fuel. So the zero fuel weight is 58.3. 58.3. The zero fuel weight, center of gravity, we said is 26.8. And pop that in. There we go. Trip wind today. What we're doing with the winds? Oh, a tailwind of 28. That's good news. Tailwind of 28. And so planned block fuel. Let's hope it shows us something around the 6.7 ton mark. Oh wow, look at that. Absolutely bang on. Let's confirm the block. We're actually burning a little bit because we've got the APU running, but that's okay. Takeoff weight 64.8 and takeoff weight 64.8, spot on. Let's just check the alternate. We've got 1.2 and alternate is actually 1.4, so let's just go ahead and amend that. 1.4. There we go. Buster, no, I've not got the Navigraph data yet. Not actually needed for this flight, everything looks quite accurate. Okay, and fuel prediction, we expect to land in Dubrovnik with 2 tons of fuel on board. Excellent, so onto the takeoff performance page then. Flaps 1 for departure, transition altitude here in of Copenhagen is 6,000 feet. It's a noise abatement 1 departure. These are actually quite accurate. I think it's something like 14 feet, so 1014, but I'm not going to quibble over 4 feet. And our flex temp takeoff, I've already calculated this to be 65 degrees today for that. So let's get our V speeds: 136, 132 and 131. Wonderful. So contact air traffic control in a moment, but basically let's just talk through our taxi and departure out of here. So let me just bring Navigraph back up so we can see the charts. So we're at parking stand, I think it's Alpha 14. We're going to taxi to runway 22, so I imagine we'll push back facing east, taxiing via Yankee, then either via Mike onto Zulu or Alpha onto Zulu, wherever they decide to take us, then taxiing across runway 30 onto Alpha, and then from Alpha all the way down to holding point Alpha 1, which gives the full runway length for takeoff. After takeoff, no turns below 1,500 feet or a distance of 2 miles DME from the Castrop VOR, whichever is later. After that, we're then basically just following the departure routing out of here. Minimum safe altitude, as you can see, is 1,600 feet, and our initial climb altitude, unless they give us any different, is flight level 70. Need to make sure we set standard pressure in the climb, as obviously the transition level is, well, it says that's transition altitude, but the transition level given by ATIS to us today is 6,000 feet. Noise abatement 2 departure. All looks fine there. Weather here is pretty good. Visibility is great. If we have a problem with the aircraft after departure, then of course we will be able to return here, and if we just check, our weight is below the maximum landing weight, so no problems there. Any threats to consider? Yeah, the approach. How the simulator handles our MP approaches, but aside from that, that's absolutely fine. Okay, let's go ahead, contact air traffic control and make sure that everything we've just popped into the FMGC doesn't change.
You can push facing south.
Facing south, 5 seconds.
Copenhagen control, good afternoon. Easy34 Alpha Mike is a type A320 Neo. Pocket stand 14 requesting IFR clearance as filed to Dubrovnik and QNH 1019.
Level 2 EC3 for Alpha Mike, clear Dubrovnik. Simigate Charlie, score 1253.
Cleared for departure via the Sigma 8 Charlie, runway 22 right and squawking 1253, Easy34 Alpha Mike.
EC3 Alpha Mike, question EC34 Alpha Mike, feedback is correct, QNH 1019.
QNH 1019, thank you, Easy34 Alpha Mike. So get that squawk in there. Why is that turned on? That shouldn't be turned on. That's in the wrong position. One of the cleaners must have been in. Squawking 1, clear that. Squawk 1, 2, 5, 3. There we go. So squawk is all now set. Ooh, sounds like the passengers are all done loaded as well.
Scandinavian 710 at standoff 7 with information Alpha requesting IFR clearance to Dubrovnik.
Hello, Scandinavian 710, clear to Dubrovnik. Simigate Charlie departure, squawk 6003.
Clear to Dubrovnik via Simigate Charlie NS5, squawk 6003, Scandinavian 710.
Scandinavian 710, believe it or not, the readback is correct. QNH 1019.
1019, that's Scandinavian 710.
Alright, so looks like the doors are closed. We'll make sure they're armed as well in a moment. Let's continue our cleaning up of the cabin, and then we can do the before start checklist. So, external power. Is he still there or has he disappeared? He better not have. Yeah, he's disappeared. I didn't tell him he could disappear. Well, we can turn that off anyway. APU is running. APU bleed now coming on. So external power is disconnected. Final check, then we'll run the cockpit prep checklist. All looks good there. We can lock those doors as well.
So, sorry, Copenhagen approach Easyjet 4 with information, so requesting pushback.
Cockpit preparation checklist, and that's all complete. Our signs are on and auto. The ideas, let's check, we've got 3 nav green.
Crisis, EKCH-LDDU or Easyjet
3 nav green.
Sorry.
So the ideas are aligned and happy. Fuel quantity is loaded. Check we're balanced. Yeah, all good. And flight management guidance computer is all sequenced and set. Altimeter 1019 set and cross-checked. One final thing that I am going to do is just see what our departure looks like here on the navigation display. Make sure that's coded correctly and matches the charts, which it does. All the way down to Dubrovnik. And there it is, there's our RNAV approach, or RNP approach in Dubrovnik. Alright, so with that, looks like we're about ready to get our pushback clearance and start preparing to push back and head out. Welcome to everyone on board, make yourselves comfortable.
Cabin crew, we're all ready to go to please arm the doors and cross-check effective. Hello ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck. My name is Gavin and I'll be your pilot flying you today. We're currently on schedule for departure, so not expecting any further delays, and we'll be looking to push back very shortly. The weather today is looking calm, so we should be able to give you a nice, relaxing flight. The cabin crew will be delivering their safety briefing very shortly, so please give them your full attention. Once we're airborne, we'll turn the seatbelt signs off and release the cabin, but for now, please get yourselves comfortable with seatbelts securely fastened. Thank you for choosing Easyjet today, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Okay, so let's get our pushback clearance. Easy 34 Alpha Mike is ready for push and start.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Step out of push, call it back.
Roger, 34 Alpha Mike. So we're obviously just waiting because there's some traffic behind us. That's fine.
864 request taxi.
Lufthansa 864, taxi via Lima, Zulu and Alpha. Cross runway 30, holding point runway 2 to right.
Taxi via Lima, Zulu Alpha, hold short runway and
Lufthansa 864, so Lima, Zulu Alpha, then cross runway 30.
We can be getting ready. Let's get the beacon light on.
Runway 2 to right.
Nose wheel steering is disconnected.
Alpha, hold short runway 30 and hold short runway 2.
Acupressure is in the green, and we'll set the transponder.
You can cross runway 1.
Now let's run the before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors closed and armed. Rotating beacon light is on, mobile phone off, and parking brake is on. We're just now awaiting air traffic control clearance to push. Makes it great and realistic when we've got air traffic control online. Get yourself sat comfortable. Hope you've all had a good Wednesday so far. Hopefully we're just going to make things better for you. We've got 107 views on board, so whilst we're sat waiting for pushback, if you could be so kind as to press the like button for the stream, that really does help with the YouTube rankings. If you want to give me a helping hand, that would be vastly appreciated.
Copenhagen France, good afternoon. Scan 224 for clearance to Dubrovnik.
Hello, Scan 224, please refine your flight plan.
Will do, to Dubrovnik.
Willie, only a few minutes to spend with us today, but there you are. How many spreadsheets have you got open?
Baltic 122, via Echo 1, 2 try to clear takeoff, 230 degrees for 2 knots.
And that's the reason we can't push back just yet.
Skydiver 224, thank you. I have your clearance when you're ready to copy.
Ready to copy, clearance 224.
Skydiver 224, clear to Dubrovnik. Nixon 1 Charlie departure.
So whilst I'm just sat here, I'm just going to try and preempt his taxi routing for me.
Clear to Dubrovnik via Nixon 1 Charlie departure, stroke 5057224.
Skydiver 224, correct.
So
QNH
we're expecting
1019.
Yankee and potentially Mike. If not, it'll be on to Alpha.
A320 Neo, line up 2 to right and right behind.
Cross the runway 30. And then holding at Alpha 1.
Confirm again the aircraft.
It shows on my scope and A320 Neo.
Thank you.
And Copenhagen approach Easyjet Forest Fred.
Easyjet 54, join taxiway Mike, Zulu and Alpha, cross runway 30, holding point runway 2 to right.
Join Mike onto Zulu, cross, then Alpha, cross runway 30, and then holding point runway to the right.
That is the same taxi route as we're going to be given.
For Mike, boundary company Easyjet 320. He will be taxiing right. Push and start up as approved behind.
Push and start approved and facing to the east. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Okay, we've got our clearance. Let's go. Let's release those parking brakes and commence our push. Back we go. APU is still running, so let's make sure we get a good clean engine start. Engine mode to ignition and starting engine 1. Hope the catering truck loaded lots of food, drinks and goodies on for you guys today.
All stations information per hour in Copenhagen, QNH 1018.
Right, so we've just had a performance change. QNH is now 1018. Let's just see if that affects us with our flex temp.
We now ask for your attention while we take you through the safety
Baltic 122, Copenhagen radar.
No, we're still good.
Heading 105, climb flight level 190.
oxygen masks, life jackets, and brace position that you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear.
If that's 84, 2 to right, clear to go, 230 degrees for 3 knots.
Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you.
Clear for takeoff and 12 to right, left on the 84.
Cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened,
And
adjusted, and released as shown. It must be
Baltic
fastened with the
122,
seatbelt
heading
signs on, and
105.
we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen.
Skydiver 224,
Put the
push
mask
and start
over
up
your
approach
nose and
facing
mouth.
south on
Hold in
Mike.
place with the strap. Pull on each side.
Push
to
facing
adjust.
south on Mike,
Put
224.
on your own mask before helping
Setting
others.
push and start Sunjet
When you
1
land on water, take the life
Sunjet
jacket
19 Alpha,
under your
push and
seat.
start up as approved.
Put it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist. Click together and pull the strap to adjust.
Approach River 44, ready to push and start.
Sure, 464, if you can push without conflict the Easyjet Neo behind, push and start up as approved.
Blow into the tube.
No worries, we'll keep an eye out for that.
Hands are
44.
attracting attention. We also carry flotation aids for children.
Easyjet 54, line up runway
Your
2 to right and
transport
right.
must now be stowed, arm
Line
ready,
up and wait for one to the right, Easyjet 54.
and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with Easyjet.
Scandinavian 710 ready for push and start QNH 1018.
Okay, so just waiting for a good engine start from engine 2. Pushback complete, set the parking brake.
Lufthansa A320 Copenhagen, radar contact, climb flight level 190, free speed.
Var det väl free speed, Lufthansa A320?
Lufthansa A320.
Willie, I use pushback helper to turn the plane. Sometimes he's helpful, sometimes he's not. Depends how good he's feeling at getting us on the line. Okay, engine 2 is now stabilised.
Shade 54, caution brake turbulence, 2 minutes ago, heavy, Boeing 787.
Anti-ice will be on for this departure.
Clear takeoff, 230 degrees, 13 knots.
APU can come off. Ground spoilers armed. Rudder trim 0, flaps 1. Pitch trim is 26.8. Check the ECAM status. Normal. And we're clear to disconnect the tug. So off he disappears. Brake fans have done a great job. We can turn the brake fans off now. 90 degrees is fine. They worked really nicely. That's the first time I've had to use those. So after start checklist, anti-ice is on, ECAM status is checked, pitch trim is set to 26.8 and rudder trim is checked 0.
Taxi via Mike, Zulu and Alpha, crossing 30, at hold and go to holding point 2.
The tug appears to have vanished into thin air, so we'll get our taxi clearance and be on our way. So the pushback is now clear. Let's get our taxi clearance. Easy34 Alpha Mike is ready for taxi.
Easy34 Alpha Mike, behind the Scandinavian A320NEO coming from left to right. Takes via Mike, Zulu Alpha, cross runway 30 for holding point runway 2 to right.
Let's kind the Scandinavian A320 taxi Mike Zulu Alpha, cross runway 30 and holding at Alpha 1 for 22 right. Easy34 Alpha Mike.
Baltic 122, proceed direct.
So where's this aircraft that we're looking for? Oh, there he is. So we'll give way to him. Let's use this time wisely, shall we? So flight control check, full left, full right, and neutral. Full up, full down, neutral, rudder, full right, rudder, full left, and neutral.
372 Copenhagen approach, request IFR clearance to Bergen SF. Stand.
Get the radars on.
Hello, ISS 624 once again, information Bravo, 0 clear to Bergen, 61 Charlie departure, squawk 4601.
Won't need the terrain radar on here, it's pretty flat all the way around.
Repeat initial climb, squawk 4601 for ICE there 372.
Okay, release parking brakes and we can continue our taxi. So on to Mike, which is just to the right. As we can see, it's nice that these all match up with the parking signs. They don't always, sadly, in the simulator.
So what you say the correct call sign is? I think I can edit it. Baltic 122, leave my space, Unicom 122.8, enjoy the flight, bye-bye.
Okay, so, right onto Mike here, then onto Zulu, and it's the first left after this.
Bye-bye.
Unicom 122.8, thank you for the control, have a nice afternoon, bye-bye.
Bye. Easyjet 54 Copenhagen, radar contact, free speed, climb flight level 190, left
so performance hasn't changed at all, even though we did have a QNH change. That's fine. Engine out procedure, if we have a problem we will be coming back here. No problems with our takeoff weight with regards to our landing weight. Departure matches what we've got in the FMGC, and stop altitude is 7,000 feet. Actually, it's flight level 70, not 7,000 feet. So flight level 70.
So if you could refund it, that would be nice.
Roger, that's a 372.
And FMA takeoff data is 131 blue, 136 magenta, climb nav blue, and at the moment 7,000 feet. Blue 1FD2 and flex temp 65. Clear to cross runway 30. Let's just have a quick look and make sure all is good.
Taxi to holding point runway 22 right via Mike Zulu Alpha, cross runway 30. Scandinavian 710.
And then from here we just carry on to our holding point of the departure runway 22 right.
EKCH-54 again.
Push repeat the direct waypoint for me, I forgot EKCH-54.
EKCH-54, no issue, proceed direct CMIC.
Direct IMEC, EKCH-54.
Skeleton 224, 2 to right, clear takeoff, 230 degrees, 13 knots.
So flight controls have been checked. Let's do the before takeoff checklist. Flight controls checked. Departure briefing is confirmed.
Skeleton Airbus, line up runway 2 to right and wait behind.
Behind the departing Airbus, line up and wait behind. Runway 22 right. Easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Jet 372, I have a
flaps config 1, FMA takeoff data is checked. Transponder is set. ECAM memo. Takeoff no blue. Electronic flight bag is stowed. So cabin, let's get those secured for takeoff. We'll just hold here because I have a couple of more checks that I want to complete. Air traffic control will not rush us. Check those wheel temperatures. Yeah, wheel temperatures below 150. That's fine. We've got our takeoff clearance. Let's get the strobes on.
Ready taxi, Target 1 and Alpha.
Let's get the landing lights on. Runway takeoff lights. Ooh, we didn't have the tax light on. That was naughty. Packs can now come off.
Romeo Bravo crossing runway 30
and before takeoff checklist. Cabin is secured and ready. Engine mode selected norm. TCAS. TARA. Tilt above. Packs are off. Anti-ice is on. Let's line up.
Taxi by Yankee Mike Zulu Alpha.
So I'm aware, guys, I do ignore the chat a little bit whilst we're doing this, particularly when we've got air traffic control online, as we need to keep an ear out.
Skeleton 224, Copenhagen, radar contact, climb level 190, free speed.
190, free speed, 224.
Easy 34 Alpha Mike, line up 2 to right, you're clear takeoff, 230 degrees, 13 knots.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 22 right, Easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Transit 19 Alpha, when able, set squawk 0465.
Okay, let's just get VOR 1 turned on as well. No turns before either 1,500 feet or 2 miles DME. Alright, takeoff. Start the chrono, 50% and 1. And set climb thrust. Takeoff power even. Not climb thrust, not yet.
No service, just ready check. Almost the center.
Oh, sorry, mine to read you fine.
Man flex, SRS and runway.
Skeleton 710, line up runway 2 to right.
Line up runway 2 to right, Scandinavian 710.
V1 and rotate. We went into toga for some reason. That's my thrust lever settings, but that's okay. 15 degrees.
Subject 19 Alpha, set squawk 0465.
Screen looks a bit dark, but I can't turn that up anymore.
My bad at 0465 and then Target 1 and Alpha.
So climb thrust should be an acceleration of about 1,000 feet. So now we'll look to set climb thrust.
You're leaving my space.
Thrust climb.
Have a nice flight, bye-bye.
and of course I'll lower that nose and start accelerating away 10 degrees, get flaps get config, get the packs on.
Copenhagen radar contact, climb flight level 190, left turn direct CMAC.
Flight level 190 and a left turn, just confirm first waypoint please.
Yeah, left turn direct CMAC.
Left turn direct CMAC, thank you, easy 34 Alpha Mike.
Skydive 710, runway 2 right,
So,
you're clear takeoff.
we can start that left turn, but I just need to clean up, so slats up, config 0, ground spoilers disarmed,
Skydive 224, contact now,
and begin that left turn.
Bye-bye.
Copenhagen, control.
Flight level 190, my thrust levers are causing me a problem. Flight level 190 blue confirmed, thrust climb.
Line up, runway 2 to right and right behind.
Where are these thrust levers? Let's keep those in that CL-10, shall we?
Behind departing Airbus, line up away from way 2
And
right.
going direct to CMAC. This is where having two pilots in a flight deck makes things much, much easier. So now we're just coming back on course following that little rerouting that we were given. That's okay, that saves us a little bit of time. I'm all for saving time and fuel. Start to bring us back in line with that, following those flight directors which seem to be behaving today, which is nice. There we go. So with that, I'm now happy to put autopilot 1 on. So autopilot 1 engaged.
Subject 1 on Alpha, 2 to right, you're clear takeoff, 230 degrees, 13 knots.
Clear takeoff from way 2 right, subject 1 on Alpha.
Speedbird 464 behind departing, jumps up 767.
So that overcast cloud layer is now beneath us. Ice not detected. There's a few cirrus clouds up there. So I'm going to leave it on for now. No great problem. William Blanton, good afternoon, right? You're just getting your work shirt and tie on, then running after the plane. Okay, so we're about to pass 10,000 feet. So 10,000 feet, let's get the airports on the EFIS and check our progress. We've got a cruise plan today, flight level 370, 390 is the optimum, that's fine. Cabin crew can now be released. They're going to start preparing your snacks, guys. And now we're just basically watching, make sure the aircraft behaves itself. Landing lights, they're still on. We haven't retracted them. Or rather, they're off, but we haven't retracted them. There we go. It's better.
Identified. Right turn direct. Northport. Climb level 190.
Northport and 190, target 1 and Alpha.
Gamer Muscle videos. I guarantee if I just press random buttons, we'd have probably crashed by now. William, yeah, we've got air traffic control. Hopefully you can hear that on the stream.
EC3 for Mike. See you in my space shortly. Unicom, once you do this, Mike, have a nice flight. Bye.
Over to Unicom now. Thanks for the service. Easy 3 for Alpha Mike. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Over to Unicom 122 decimal 8. And that's it. Unicom. Let's see. Do we have any air traffic control ahead of us? For now, we're on our own. I thought Copenhagen control was online actually, but maybe they're going offline, which is why they've told us just to contact Unicom. Clicksy on Twitch has followed. Thank you very much, sir. Hope you have a very, very pleasant flight with us. Okay, speed alt star. We can now go to our cruise altitude as we've no air traffic control. So flight level 370, flight level 370 confirmed, blue, and thrust climb. Frederick Davison, do I know the QRH for that? Well, the whole point of the QRH is it's not really something that's memorized. The QRH is basically a quick reference handbook for procedures which you then have to follow. It's almost like a checklist of things for when things go wrong. So whilst you may have a basic understanding of them, you should always use the QRH to make sure nothing gets forgotten. Venkat, do I want a Coke? God, no. I want to keep all my teeth. Right, seatbelt signs coming off. You guys will soon be free to move around the cabin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has now turned off the seatbelt sign and you are now free to move around the cabin. We do recommend, however, when in your seat, that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence. The toilets are now available. Please contact a member of the cabin crew if you require assistance. Thank you.
And there's that beautiful, stunning scenery that we enjoy looking at on these flights. Christian Shadowtronics on Twitch. Good afternoon, sir. Hope you are well. William, was that yourself? Fair enough, mate. Thank you. Captain speaking. The banner that you can see at the top of the screen is an add-on which is only used for streaming. I actually can't see any of that information here in the simulator. Only you guys as passengers can see that, and it's from self-loading cargo, so you can't use it in the sim as a standalone piece of software, I'm afraid. So as per usual then, guys, I will get up to our cruising altitude and then I'll come off the microphone. I will be with you in the chat room and then I'll be back on to prep our arrival and descent into Dubrovnik, which we'll keep an eye on that weather. Let's have a look. What's it doing? 330 at 17 knots. Nice. So a nice crosswind landing with an RNP approach or visual. Gusting 29 knots. Oh, this could be fun. Or devastating. I've already drunk this tea. Throw that away. And that one over there, well, there's no one sat there, so that's just littering. Let's get rid of that. Jonathan Peel, are the sound effects also self-loading cargo? If you're referring to the cabin announcements, yes, that is from self-loading cargo. Let's just get standard pressure set on the standby as well. Now we're on with the climb. About to pass flight level 280. Frederick Davison, did I read the Ofcom for the A320 or do I just press things that I learnt on YouTube? I'm pleased to say that I did not learn most of what I know from YouTube. Captain speaking, thank you very much, sir, for your subscription. Chris Hogg, good afternoon as well. Hopefully you got my email with your Easyjetsimpilot delivery.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So, cabin crew's on its way around with the first round of drinks. I don't think they were alcoholic drinks, were they? Were they alcoholic drinks? I wasn't really listening. Davidson, so where did I learn to fly the A320? Well, I was very lucky in that I've got quite a few friends that are actually real-world Airbus A320 pilots. I spent years reading, studying, like many other people in the chat actually. A labour of love. William, would I like drinks on you today as the first officer? Oh, look, the moon. Well, I probably shouldn't drink and fly. However, I would like a... I'm going to go and grab a cup of tea in a moment. Nick, when's the East delivery coming out? Right, so we've got a special East delivery unveiling. That will be happening on Monday, I shall say no more. Flight level 310, coming up to 320, and decent climb rate as well. We're not actually that heavy today. Christian, where do you see that the spoilers are deployed? That should come on the upper ECAM, so you should get a little message. I don't know if that's simulated with the automatic deployment of the spoilers. Oh, Frederick, please do enlighten me. I like real pilots to tell me which mistakes, but go ahead. I look forward to the constructive criticism you are about to give. So if we just come and look at the weather as well on the operational flight plan for the SIGMET charts, we can zoom in now. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so it's basically a standard climb, a standard altitude all the way through. We've got no step climbs, anything like that. Let's have a look. Got any areas of expected turbulence? And actually we haven't. So should all be absolutely fine. Smooth skies, planes flying, until we come to land in Dubrovnik with those gusty winds on arrival. Fun. Even the shear rate is quite low today, so no one should be spilling beer or tea on the flight this afternoon. And the sun should just be about setting by the time we arrive, so I bet it'll make for a very picturesque arrival. The commentator, to be fair, that's not a stupid question at all. So, when the channel was first set up, we did fly real-world Easyjet routes because, obviously, there were hundreds of them. Since COVID, unfortunately, the amount of Easyjet routes flown has diminished significantly, as it has for all airlines, which means that if we were just going to fly Easyjet routes, the real-world Easyjet routes that are still currently flying at the moment, then it would probably get very, very boring. Sorry, just Mac Alt Star, make sure we capture 370. Yeah, so now what we tend to do is we'll fly to Easyjet destinations, but they're not real-world routes. With regards to the real ops thing in the title, we're basically doing everything as per the real-world procedures and Airbus standard operating procedures. So we're basically mimicking everything that would be done in the real world. So I'm just watching for alt cruise to be captured. And there's alt cruise. Frederick, we wouldn't normally put the, or at least here, we wouldn't normally put strobes on just for crossing the runway. It wasn't an active runway. And certainly right with the call outs. So some of the call outs that I purposely don't do, some of them do happen, but automatically. So for instance, 100 knots is called out as is the positive rate of climb, gear up. After that, we're calling out basically everything we see on the FMA, making sure that the aircraft is doing what we tell it to do, which doesn't always happen in the Airbus. Particularly in the Microsoft Flight Simulator Airbus. Right, there we go. We are now at flight level 370, our cruising altitude for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, once again, just let you know that we've reached our cruise level for the flight today. The cabin crew will be making their way around, serving drinks, hot coffee, teas, etc. So please keep any eye out on the all items, and we invite you to sit back and enjoy the rest of the flight. Thank you.
So from here on in, we should just be able to relax a little bit. So now we're in the cruise. We're just going to check, make sure nothing is vastly wrong on any of the ECAMs. Engines are fine. Bleed air is good. Pressure, landing elevation auto, minus 2,000 feet, ignore that. The electric page is good. All working as it should. Hydraulics not yet working in the sim. Fuel is fine and still balanced. APU obviously turned off. 24 degrees in the cabin. All doors still closed and armed. Those wheel temperatures should drop through the flight. 145, that's fine. Remember guys, if it's ever showing above 300 degrees, then you can't retract the landing gear, as it's getting close to the flash point of the hydraulic fluid that runs through the landing gear. Flight control computers are all turned on as well, so that's fine. Beautiful. So we can check our flight progress now. Direct to Bedham. In fact, we've just passed Diemer at 20 minutes into the flight. Let's have a look. Where's Diemer? Diemer, 21 minutes. Spot on. And fuel on board is just under 5.8 tons, and at Diemer we should have a minimum remaining of 5 tons, so that's great. Chris, am I in my comfortable aircraft again? Absolutely right. I can't fly the CRJ. I've got too much Airbus logic in me. I'd need a full period of recertification. How do I switch the wing camera and cockpit camera so fast? So that basically I've just set up custom views. If you want to know how to do it, it's actually very simple. Check out on the channel. I actually recently shared a video showing how to set up custom views for the CRJ, and you just apply the exact same procedure to the A320. Tim, you foolishly just loaded in the same route and started flying it yourself. Good for you. And then you realised that it's an RMP approach and you've never done one before. No, well, if the weather's good, you can go visual. There is a circle to land visual there. Now, if the weather is too terrifying, then let's just have a look. If we come down here, we should have our alternates on the map. Try that again. So we've got a few alternates. Split is one of the alternates, although depending on which runway they're using, that's a very hairy landing as well. That's got the circle to land. Lima Yankee Papa Golf. Let's have a look. Lima Yankee Papa Golf. I have no idea where that is. Simbrief created these. Podgrosia. What's the weather doing there? Wind is much better there, no gusting. 030 at 12, and runway details are 2,500 feet. That seems like a good bet. That's fine. Just out of interest, how is Split looking? Lima Delta Sierra Papa. So Split weather at the moment is using runway 29, I think, at the moment. Sorry, not runway 29. Oh no, we get in on runway 5. Again, 2,500 meter runway. So with that, let's just have a look at some airports a little bit closer to us, just in case one of the passengers decides to collapse or any other inconvenient things that may happen. So where are we? They need to update the airport option on the EFIS, so it only shows airports that we can actually land at. So after leaving Copenhagen, let's have a look at some of the larger airports. So we've obviously got Dresden. We've also got Warsaw on the way, Echo Papa Whiskey Romeo. Weather there is good. Hardly any wind at all. Great visibility. So Warsaw's an option should we need to divert at any time. Also en route we have Vienna. Not a straightforward approach, but it's a possibility. But yeah, nothing wrong with most of the airports around here not suffering from great problems with the weather. So if we did have an issue, then diverting wouldn't be a problem. Nick, if I'm worried about the weather, you should be terrified for following me. Oh, you are behind me today, aren't you? William, here's a question. If a commercial flight has to use the alternate, do they make arrangements for passengers to get to the original destination? Yes, I believe so. I mean, every airline's different, but I think that's certainly in the EU. I think that's what has to happen. Venkat, there is a baby, you think it's mine? Oh, my baby days are done. I'm just struggling with toddlers now. Joe Mama, hello, hope you're well. Okay guys, well it's time for me to go and grab my drink from the galley, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes, but I'm coming off the microphone and I'll be back with you in the chat room for the remainder of the flight until we start briefing our approach, which is all good fun. So thank you for watching the departure. Hope you have a great flight with us, and as I say, I shall be back in the chat room with you in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching, speak to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as an Easyjet customer. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
This one on flight level 260, climb to flight level 340.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly. moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payments in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we could be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly. In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. Full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
traffic with 54 is coming from flight level 370 to 5,000 feet.
Good afternoon, guys. So we're back, and we need to start looking at this arrival into Dubrovnik. So top of descent isn't actually going to be far away. Let me just have a look. Let's get back into that flight deck. Okay, so if we just have a quick look at the chart, we can see that here's our arrival. There we go. So we'll be coming in on the Nera 1 Yankee arrival, and as you can see, it's a bit of a dog-legged approach, and that's usually for aircraft spacing, which is fine. And the key area we're going to be looking at is obviously by Delta Uniform 702. We want to be at 4,000 feet. Transition altitude is 10,000 feet. But just watch, we've got the speed restrictions, 250 knots here, and then 230 knots at DU 107. At Olegu, we want to be at 4,000 feet. Well, actually, we want to be at 4,000 feet here, but still maintaining 4,000 feet, which is the start, the initial approach fix for our RNAV approach. So as you can see, initial approach fix, initial approach fix there at Olegu, and then we track around. Make sure that by here we are at 2,500 feet during the arc. And then the final approach point is at 504, as you can see just here. That is the point where we hit the approach button and hope the simulator works. But if not, we could obviously look to make a visual approach into runway 29. So hopefully all shall be well. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. So in order to hit that descent constraint, we need to start descending at around about 110 miles away, which we, if I have a quick look at the navigation display, let me just turn the airports off, the EFIS, we can see that we're probably around 130 miles away at the moment. So top of descent is probably around 20 miles time. So we'll let the cabin know that this is your last chance to start using the toilets before we start heading down on our approach. We'll also make a call on Unicom once we start to enter the star arrival.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking again from the flight deck. You'll be delighted to know that we'll be starting our descent shortly towards our destination, and the cabin crew will start preparing the aircraft for our arrival. If you can make sure the hours are clear for the cabin crew so they can make their way around the aircraft, that would be most appreciated. Thank you very much, and we'll update for you shortly.
So we need that weather to come through as well. There's no air traffic control online, sadly, in Dubrovnik. Nothing we can do about that, but never mind. Jaden, that's annoying. If you get yourself on the Discord and send some pictures, step-by-step pictures of what you're doing, maybe we can identify to what's happening there. Try and get that fixed for you. Okay, so let's have a look at the METAR that we have to deal with when we get down there. So, messages received. There's our METAR. Let's print that off. Nice to see the winds have dropped a little bit. They've swung around a bit though, so a little bit more of a crosswind. And with the terrain that's around there, then wind shear is also something we need to be aware of. Big threat coming into Dubrovnik. So let's have a look at that, and we can pop this in to our performance page. Cruise page, descent and approach. So also have a look at this. Becoming 020 at 15. So again, need to be aware of that. We may end up with a little bit of a tailwind behind us, if depending on how that wind behaves. So really difficult winds on the approach. So the QNH is 1016. Temperature is plus 13. And the winds are, at the moment, 340 at 15. 340 at 15. Transition altitude here at Dubrovnik is nice and high, 10,000 feet. And the minimum descent altitude is 920 feet. Elevation of the runway is 485 feet, and the missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. So that's now all coded in, and I'm just going to check that if we compare our arrival and what that looks like in the plan mode, we just flip through that, check that's hard coded in correctly. So there's nearer, then 705. Just pop the constraints on, actually see how they're matching up. So there's 705, 704, 702 should be next. There's the decel point. Strangely enough, it goes from 702 straight to Oleg, which isn't quite correct as per the chart. It also tells us it wants to be below 4,000 feet. That is not correct. It actually wants us to be at 4,000 feet at Oleg. I don't think we can actually go in and change that, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, actually, can we? Best to put above 4,000 feet. That way the aircraft won't descend below it. That was if we were in managed mode, of course. Oh, it has let us change that. That's unusual. Can we change 704 as well then? Again, that's showing below. Let's go ahead and then change that as well to no lower than 4,000 feet. There we go. And then at Legu, we want to be at 4,000 feet as well. That's where it's going to stop letting us change. Then at DU 500, if you recall from those charts, I said at DU 500 we want to start, we actually want to be able to be at 2,500 by Romeo 239, it calls it just here. Let's have a quick look. Zoom in a little bit. Oh, there we go, 2,500 feet. So it gives it a slightly different waypoint name here in the simulator, but that looks coded quite well actually. Right, I think we're about ready to start that descent. Bear in mind we're about 100 miles away, but track miles we've got a few extra to go. That said, we've got a tailwind and we want to be configured nice and early. We don't want to be high for this approach. Lots will happen as we go through this approach, so let's start that descent. And we can actually go with no air traffic control online, so we can just plan our descent now all the way down to 5,000 feet to begin with, as we need to be above 5,000 feet by the time we get to Nira. And as we're going actually to 5,000 feet, we need to set the local QNH. So we'll pull 5,000 feet, set local pressure, which is 1016. And 5,000 feet blue, thrust idle, open descent. We're actually going to change that. We're going to go to a vertical descent rate around 1,600 feet. Actually, we've got that wind. We'll go, oh no, 16 should be fine. 1,600 feet, and then let's pull the speed bug just to hold around 270 knots as it slows down. So we've got the weather and the landing information, that's all keyed in. Flight management computers set. Landing elevations confirmed at 485 feet. Auto brake, I don't think it's required. It's actually quite a long runway here. Yeah, 3.2 kilometers, 3,230 meters. So auto brake's not required. We've just done the arrival briefing. We will put the terrain radar on though, with the terrain that we have surrounding the airport. And down we go. Let's also get the QNH on the standby, 1016. Check our ECAM status, all systems normal. And down we go. Chris, yep, this is the custom build. And we can actually look to start slowing down all the way to 250 knots by the time we get around here. You recall those speed restrictions that we have. On landing then, we should vacate via taxiway Bravo, past the stop bars, and then we can turn left back towards the terminal, which we should pass on the left hand side as we come in. Just confirming again, sadly no air traffic control, but that's okay. So just make a quick call on Unicom, let other aircraft know what we're doing. Dubrovnik traffic, Easy 34 Alpha Mike, 50 miles from Nera, passing flight level 330 on descent. So it was a little bit bumpy there, wasn't it? I don't know if you could see that in the sim. I can't actually remember. I've flown into Dubrovnik a few times, but I can't remember if I've done it here on in Flight Sim 2020, so this should be interesting. Pilot mod, which do I prefer, the A320 or the 737? I think you can draw your own conclusion. Ah, Jaden, did you have two A320 NX folders in there? Yeah, it won't like that. Make sure there's definitely only one. As we're descending, that wind is increasing, look, so let's just roll that back a bit, and we can also just increase that rate of descent a little more as we're getting pushed towards the airport. We can also pop in, we're not using it, but as a good point of reference, there is the VOR approach here for runway 29. And we can put the VOR in there, gives us our distance from the airport. So that's Delta Bravo Kilo.
Dubrovnik traffic schedule again 710 descending to 3000 feet right now, route down following the runway into the arrival.
And there we are. 72 miles away from Dubrovnik. So track miles to go because of this dog leg. We've probably got about 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, probably still about 80 or 90 track miles to go, even though we're only showing 60 miles away from, or 70 miles away from the airfield. But there's some lovely scenery coming into Dubrovnik. Be nice to see how the flight simulator replicates that. This should now switch over to knots in a moment. There's just still a bug in the simulator, which I'm sure most of you that have watched the channel before will have seen me flag up. Once we pass flight level 250, there we go. Now we can set and hold 250 knots, and hopefully the engine should stop spooling up and chasing the max speed as that increases on our descent. Chimu, you won't need strong rudder. Strong rudder in this will probably flip your plane. Be gentle with those controls. Remember, the rudder pedals are footrests until about 30 feet. We don't want anyone's side slipping into Dubrovnik today. Okay, so with the little bit of turbulence I'm experiencing now, we're going to get those seatbelt signs on nice and early. Shouldn't need the ice, not at the moment anyway. We'll keep an eye on the eye on the cloud layers. Chris, is the flight deck wheelchair accessible? I don't know. Probably not. Most flight decks are really small, aren't they? Especially the CRJ. It's not split airfield down there, is it? One thing we need to be aware of, talking about threats and things, is of course the aircraft not doing what we expect it to do, which happens more often than not, sadly, at the moment in the simulator. No, that wasn't split. Captain 115 on Twitch, good afternoon. Thank you for the follow. Let's hope we can give you a decent landing into Dubrovnik now. The angle nerd. Does the A320 auto land smoothly? The real one does. The one in the simulator here, however, not so much. So the airport is more or less actually directly straight in front of us. Had we been using a different approach today, the winds have been in a different direction, then yeah, it would have obviously been much lower about now. The runway is pretty much down there, but we're obviously coming around here to circle to land. So minimum set both sides. Engine mode select to norm, and the electronic flight bag is stowed. And just check 1017 is the current QNH, so that has just changed. Let's update that. Chile will be 250 knots by Delta Uniform 704. 4. Performance page as 1017 for that update on the QNH, and same on the standby. So we're looking pretty good actually on our profile here. As I say, we want to be at 4,000 feet. Let me just update those constraints. There we go. 4,000 feet. By Delta Uniform 702, which is just here. I think I heard a little bit of screaming from the cabin there with that wind shear. Jimmy, I can't actually see you anywhere, my friend. Oh, actually, can I see him? This is where we really need air traffic control to be online for stuff like this. So left-hand turn coming up, and then the airport should be at about our 11 o'clock, but we've still got to go all the way around it to come into land. The RMP is also a visual approach as well. Certainly the last few feet, so I just want to check those cloud layers. Few clouds, 6,600 feet, that's absolutely fine, that's not going to concern us. So passing 10,000 feet, let's get those landing lights on. And we can just reduce that rate of descent a little bit now. So just confirm vertical speed is now 2,000 feet per minute. Oh, there's Shumi. He was much below us. Right, okay, so let's have a look at rolling back our speed. Do you know what? In order to help with our separation, let's enter the approach phase now. Go to manage mode. Let's start pulling back to green dot speed. Oh, where's the aircraft going? It's trying to take us to the initial approach fix. Don't do that. Let's go into heading mode. And I'd like to go back to Delta Uniform 702. Chumi, you could cut your legs short if you wished. So I need to be aware of that. The last thing you want is a simulator not behaving on an approach like this, but sadly we have to deal with it. So can we just tell that to go back direct to 702? Let's try that. And go back to nav. See if it holds that for us. Okay, down to 4,000 feet. Just slow that descent rate, and that will also slow us down a little bit. Yeah, Chumi, I'd go direct to Olegu. In fact, I would go one better than going direct Olegu. I would, if you possibly could, I'd go direct the initial approach, which is Delta Uniform 500. And if need be, I can actually extend my base leg. So if I carried on flying straight on here after passing Delta Uniform 702, and then we can just come in at this point here and do our approach that way. Speed Alt Star. And we're now comfortably at 4,000 feet and reducing speed there. We can see all the terrain on the radar, which is obviously terrain we want to stay away from. So in order to help with spacing, what we're going to do is we're going to continue our current heading from Delta Uniform 702. We're just going to continue out along here, and then do we have eyes on Shumi at all? I've actually lost visual separation with him, so we've actually got quite a while to go. The approach gets us down nice and early, as you can see, 4,000 feet, but we're 24 miles away from the airfield, and we've got all these track miles still to fly. And as we're now at green dot speed, to help with that separation, let's just make a quick call. So, Dubrovnik traffic, Easy 34 Alpha Mike is about to cross Delta Uniform 702, showing indicated airspeed of 210 knots on the Nero 1 Yankee approach. So now we're coming in direct to Olegu. I can't actually see. I think Shumi will be well out of our way now.
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing.
Can anybody see a plane, boss? The plane.
Easyjet is crossing Dubrovnik 500 for Nero 1 Yankee approach, indicated airspeed.
It doesn't need to do that. We're miles away from him. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Our separation's great now, so don't worry about keeping your speed up.
Roger, thank you very much.
Nick, you're getting nothing on comms. Interesting.
710 at Delta Uniform 704, reduce speed to 220 knots.
Tim Pixel, that's correct. We can only see VATSIM pilots.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
So we can actually speed up a little bit now that separation's okay. We've got a max speed restriction of 230 knots, and that's fine. Let's just turn down the brightness of the terrain radar. We don't want it to look too scary. And at the moment, you can see, we're not actually tracking that line. We're going direct Delta. We're going direct to Delta Uniform 500 or Dubrovnik 500. So let's reconfirm where I'd want this to take me. I want it to take me to Alegu and then follow the track. If not, we'll be making a visual approach. And the runway, the airport, is actually over here. Jaden, you've got the 320NX back. Fantastic. So as we get to around here, we're going to start looking at configuring early, because we've got lots to do in this final turn, and we'll probably be hand flying it as well if the simulator doesn't behave. So by the time we get to Dubrovnik 500, there is a max speed restriction of 210 knots, which reduces to 200 knots by Delta Uniform 502. Of course, they're maximum speeds, so they're not targets. So here was our turn to Dubrovnik 500. Green dot is 210 knots, so I can go back into manage mode now. And passengers sat on the left of the aircraft will shortly be able to see our destination. There it is. There's Dubrovnik Airfield. Just that. So we now want to start descending to 2,500 feet. So let's go flaps 1 and start to get down to 2,500 feet. And vertical speed 1,300 feet per minute. Thrust idle. Mr. Squidgy, good afternoon. No camera mods, just set up custom views. There's Dubrovnik, look. So there's no camera mods. The descent angle as well for this approach is slightly steeper than normal. It's 3.1 degrees as opposed to the normal 3 degrees. Oh, what a time. 1236. What on earth are you doing to me? 123.6. Why, come on now. Right, okay.
Good afternoon, Easyjet is about for the Arnav approach runway 29
Approach Easy 34 Alpha Mike has just passed Delta Uniform 500, 2,500 feet.
Easyjet 5 for Dubrovnik radar, good afternoon. Set to land, runway 29, wind 360 degrees, 11 gust, 2
There he is.
Good friend, someone to memory, Easyjet 5.
Easy34 Alpha Mike, set disregard. Easy34 Alpha Mike, continue approach. You are number 2 for landing.
Continue the RMP approach, Easy34 Alpha Mike number 2.
Probably approach.
Okay, speed check. Flaps 2.
Speedbird 464 Dubrovnik radar. Good afternoon. Identified. Continue approach. You are number 4.
Continue approach number 4, Speedbird 464. Dubrovnik approach Scandinavian 710 over Ulagu, 4,000 feet.
Scandinavian 710 Dubrovnik radar. Good afternoon. Continue.
Mr. Squidgy, if you check out my channel, there's a tutorial on setting them up on the CRJ. You can apply the exact same method to the Airbus, if you so wish. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off on the chat for a moment, guys, as I really do need to just concentrate on this. So radio altimeter is alive. We're already flaps 2.
Dubrovnik approach Scandinavian 224 with you.
Scandinavian 224 Dubrovnik radar. Good afternoon. Please for RMP approach runway 29er. You are number 5.
Runway 29er, number 5, 224.
So just be careful to make sure the aircraft takes us where we want to go.
Scandinavian 710, report speed.
Scandinavian 710 speed, 210.
I'm looking to arm the approach at 504.
Speed 180.
Speed 180, Scandinavian.
Although, is that actually in here?
180 or less, sorry.
Actually, it's not, so we may end up doing a visual on this. It's this waypoint just here, I believe. It's got a different name. This is how close we get to the scenery, guys, coming in for landing. I've also been recording this for quite a while, so don't disappear after the landing. We'll have a look at the passenger views and see what it looks like from their point of view. See how scared they are. So left turn in a moment. And we basically come down this valley here to line up with the runway. Landing gear coming down. And we can get the lights on. Ground spoilers are armed. And flaps 3, speed check. Flaps 3. And flaps full. And I can feel the wind buffeting the aircraft now. I don't know if you can see that. So,
Easy34 Alpha Mike, do you have visual with the ground?
34 Alpha Mike, roger. Confirm it.
Easy34 Alpha Mike, roger, continue, maintain visual with the ground.
Wilco 34 Alpha Mike. Okay, final approach nav is armed. Let's see if the aircraft actually does that. If not, we need to disengage autopilot 1 and fly manually in a moment. And there is there's the runway. Okay, so final has armed. Just check this descent rate. That looks like it's descending far too quickly. Let's just give it a moment to stabilize, see how that does.
Easy34 Alpha Mike, runway 29er, clear to land. Wind 360 degrees, 11 gust 22 knots.
Clear to land runway 29, Easy34 Alpha Mike. Okay, I'm not happy with what the autopilot's doing, so...
Easy34 Alpha Mike, just for your information, in case of going around, maintain runway heading 5,000.
In case going around, maintain runway heading and 5,000, Easy34 Alpha Mike. Okay, I was just about to set the go-around altitude, so let's change that to 5,000 feet. We are fully configured for landing now, so cabin is secured for landing, and auto thrust is not maintaining speed. Actually, it's in climb thrust. Why not? Okay, we'll leave it. It seems to be doing a job. Go around altitude is set, and ecam memo landing no blue. Currently 5 miles out.
Is vacated runway 29 at Bravo.
Easyjet 54, welcome to Dubrovnik, taxi to the apron via Whiskey, stand 14.
Taxi to apron via Whiskey, stand 14, Easyjet 54.
So the autopilot seemed to want to descend us a little bit too quickly, so that's not coded in correctly. I've now got glare from the sun. That's quite realistic and quite nice. So we're in VMC, so we can obviously maintain visual with both the runway and the terrain. We want to be about 1,000 feet when 3 miles away, so we're actually not far off profile there, although the pappers are showing us a little bit low. That said, it's a steeper approach than normal. Once again, I just don't think the RNP approach was coded incorrectly. So happy to go visual on this.
Scandinavian 224, report speed.
Speed is 250, 224.
Scandinavian 224, reduce speed to 220.
So now we're on profile. Just keeping an eye on that wind. There's a decent crosswind, but not too strong. Continue. .500 approach stable. Oh, that was down a little harder than I would have liked. But we're down. Bit of a Ryanair landing, never mind. Okay, reversers are off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Not permitted to reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today.
In case of misapproach on the heading, flight as a Scandinavian 710.
For the latest news, promotions, flight and destination information, check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or Easyjet app.
So we'll just sit pretty here until he tells us where he wants to go. If he's going to tell us. What was the landing rate on that? Did we get above 250? It sounded like a bit of a crunch. Easy 34 Alpha Mike is vacated and awaiting taxi instructions.
Easy34 Alpha Mike, hold position, give way to company Airbus 320 after company A320, taxi to stand 16.
Give way to the company A320 and then taxi stand 16, Easy34 Alpha Mike. MFS pilot, it was 242, I'll take that, as I say. Anywhere under 250 and above 150 I'm happy with. So, parking stand 16, we've come off at Delta, parking stand 16 is... Did we come off at Delta? Actually no, we came off at Charlie, so that would be a right turn then I think. Straight in front of us. So giving way to him, so straight in front, and let's take that off. We can turn the taxi lights off. Actually, I think runway 16.
Easy854, I believe you passed stand 15, so first to the right. You can take stand 11.
And sorry, could we go to the right? We don't have model the apron on the left, unfortunately. Easy854.
Easy854, no problem, just first to the right, take your stand, taxi stand, brake, Easy34 Alpha Mike. You can park next to the company A320.
Roger, we'll park next to the company A320. Thank you, 34 Alpha Mike. Alright, slight change. Has Jimmy still got his strobe lights on? I can see the ground flashing. Tell you what, let's have a look at the outside view while taxiing, shall we?
Scandinavian 710, vacated via Charlie.
Scandinavian 710, welcome to Dubrovnik. Taxi to the apron. You can take first available parking stand to the right.
First to the right, Scandinavian 710.
And then we'll have a look at the instant replay. So looking forward to seeing that smash down landing. It wasn't that bad, to be fair. The sound effects made it sound that bad, but... There we go.
Scandinavian 224, reduce speed 160 or less.
Okay, pop those parking brakes on and let's have a look. Alright, so I need to disconnect from VATSIM now for the instant replay. So we'll do that. Leave the engines running. So thank you very much to our VATSIM compadres. There they go. Let's load the instant replay up and see what this looked like. Oh, I forgot about the self-loading cargo passengers. They don't like being warped through space. We'll just let some of the scenery load, and then we shall we can hit play. Oh, that's not the right runway. Which which file have I just loaded? That's not right. Oh, for some reason, I don't think it actually recorded. Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame. This is our arrival into Copenhagen yesterday, which it's just done. Oh, that's a pain. That was would have been quite nice to see. So my apologies for that. Wow. Oh, that really is annoying. Well, if anyone missed the arrival into Copenhagen yesterday, here it is. So, with that slightly disappointing end to the stream, I just like to thank everybody for flying with me this afternoon. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the flight. And yeah, Dubrovnik, another tricky approach hidden in the valleys in Europe. Good to fly to, and Easyjet do fly there as well in real life, as or certainly did prior to COVID. I'm sure hopefully those routes will come back in the future. So big thank you to everyone who has enjoyed the flight this afternoon and followed and flown along. Big thank you as well to the subscribers and those that have donated and contributed towards the channel, and of course channel members. A big thank you as always to the channel members. I'm going to leave this replay flying out, even though it's the the wrong approach, but why not? Let's enjoy. Thanks very much everyone, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.